Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you. Welcome to this new episode in which we will deal with a number of basic and fundamental concepts that need to be stressed before anything else. These concepts are innate in the Islamic faith and its worldview. If one of these concepts or issues is ever violated or denied, the whole of the Islamic faith is subsequently violated and denied. The first concept is that all human beings were created to worship God, Allah. This means that everyone, all human beings, Muslims and non-Muslims, were born pure and have an innate tendency to goodness. This is something innate within the human nature. All were born with an innate need or tendency to worship God. However, later in one's life, one may be distracted from this objective of worshiping God in the most appropriate manner due to many different things that can take one away from the way of God. But basically, all were created to worship Him, God, the creator of everyone and everything. No one is ever born as a disbeliever or an unbeliever, but it's our way of thinking and ideologies that may make us deviate from that right path of God. The second concept is that there is no such a thing as inherited sin. In Islam, the concept of original sin doesn't exist and never has. If someone commits a sin, he has to bear the consequences for that sin. No one is ever given the burden of another because of a sin he didn't commit or approve. This is an individual responsibility in that sense. And just like Judaism and Eastern Christianity, the concept of original sin is completely foreign to Islam. This concept is accepted only in the Western Church. A question may arise here. Did Jesus teach it? Apparently not. As Jesus taught, "Let the little children come to me, and do not forbid them, for of such is the kingdom of heaven." Matthew 19:14. Also, the concept of sinning in the mind doesn't exist in Islam. To a Muslim, an evil thought becomes a good deed when a person refuses to act upon it. An evil thought only becomes sinful when it is fulfilled or carried out. The third concept is that of racism and supremacy. It's a well-known fact that Prophet Adam is the father of humankind and that he was created from earth or dust. Hence, and as we all come from the same origin, Adam, all people are equal. There is no supremacy for one above the others. We are all God's creatures. He created us from the same source, but made us different in some respects to test us and see whether we are going to be good or to do good or bad. Islam doesn't accept the commandment dictated by the character of Napoleon in George Orwell's Animal Farm that goes, "All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others." This cannot be approved in Islam. No one is higher than another or superior to another except for piety, and this must be left to God to judge. As for racism, this is totally rejected in Islam and cannot be tolerated in any way. It's central to Islam that Allah didn't choose any race or nationality to be His favorite or chosen one. All men are equal in the sight of God, and the only distinction between them is their piety and righteousness, and this is left to Him to decide on and reward or punish accordingly. The fourth concept is that of free will. God created all of us and provided us with a free will so that we can choose for ourselves. God showed us the two pathways, the path of good and that of evil, and He let us choose between them. And because we are free choosers, we are going to be held accountable for all the choices that we have ever made throughout our lives on the day of judgment. The fifth and last concept is that no one can be forced to accept anything. This is what the Quran and the traditions of Prophet Muhammad dictate. There is a verse in the Quran that reads, لا إكراه في الدين. There is no compulsion in the matter of religion. If a Muslim puts a firearm or a gun to the head of a non-Muslim and forces him to verbally accept Islam, that person doesn't become a Muslim, as he does so under intimidation. This is totally unacceptable in Islam. Islam addresses the hearts and minds of all people. Muslims seek to persuade others and convince them to accept, to submit their will to God. No one can be forced to do so. Always remember, we were given free will, and no one can deprive any other person of that divine gift. The Quran also dictates, وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. And there is not upon the messenger except the responsibility for clear notification. So, even the Prophet doesn't have the right to force or compel anyone to accept his prophethood and the divine message with which he was sent by God. His entire mission is to show the addressees the way to God and then let them choose for themselves. And I always say, a sword cannot capture a human heart. Dear all, here we come to the end of this episode. Stay tuned and follow me in the next. May Allah bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be with you.